So I think you've figured out by now that whole numbers are numbers that are whole pieces, just like this French fry right here. So we have the whole number 1. But then there are also a lot of other whole numbers, like the number 2, the number 3, the number 4, the number 5, and so on, because all of those numbers are numbers that have not been broken up into tiny little bits. But every once in a while, we do need to break whole numbers into smaller pieces. So we might need to share this French fry with 10 other people and break it up into smaller pieces. And when we do cut that whole number into smaller little pieces, we call those little pieces decimals. Here they are, my decimals. But the funny thing about decimals is that when you make them by taking a whole number and cutting it into bits, you always have to cut it into bits in groups of 10. So right here we have, let me see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, 10 itty bits that have been cut from the whole number 1. Now, we have cut this whole French fry right here into its 10 tiny little bits right here. But let's say that we had to share that French fry not with 10 people, but with, let's say, 20 people. Then what do? Well, the rule was that you could only cut these numbers into groups of 10, and so that would mean that this French fry and this French fry I have to cut 10 times each, and this one 10 times each, and 10 and 10 and 10 and 10 and 10 and 10. Now that's going to make these French fries way too small for me to show you on this screen, so I'm just going to put a 10 next to each of these fries to show you how many times I need to cut each of these guys. Now, in order to find out how many tiny bits that's going to be, let's count by tens. Do it with me now. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. 100 tiny little bits of French fry just from this single fry right here. So the first time we cut the fry, we cut it into 10 pieces. But the second time we cut those fries again, they ended up being 100 pieces. Now, when we're using the language of decimals, we call the 10 pieces that we originally cut, we call them tenths. Whoops, sorry, not tenths, tenths, with a th at the end. And then when we cut them into the 100 little pieces, then we call those, I'm going to let you guess, hundredths, with a th at the end also. Now when we're writing decimals out in math, the decimals are going to look something like this. The number on this side of the decimal point is called a whole number, so that's 2 whole things. And the number on this side of the decimal point are the decimals, so this is the number that's smaller than the number 1. Now, each of these digits has a certain place value, and we've learned about place value before. So this whole number 2 is in the units place, or sometimes we call it the ones place value. Well, when we deal with decimals, they also have a place value. So this number 3 is the 3/10ths, with a th at the end, just like we talked about. And the 6 is in the hundredths place value, with also the ths at the end. So looking at this number here, 2.36, can you tell me which of these digits, the 2 or the 3 or the 6, is worth the most? Now keep in mind that this 2 is a whole number or like a whole French fry. Like here we have 2 whole French fries. And this digit right here, this 3, means 3/10, or like the little itty bits of the French fry that have been cut. And this 6 right here is 6/100, which is these French fries right here that have been cut into even smaller bits. So which one of these digits do you think is worth the most? Let me give you some think time. So, if you said that this 2 right here is worth the most, you are absolutely correct. Because as we go this way, the numbers are going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. Now you might be wondering, what do we call this number here? Well, yes, we call it a decimal, but I mean, what's its name? Well, we call this number 2, because that's what it is. And when we get to the decimal point right here, we say and then we just say the name of this number as though it was a regular number, which is 36. And then we look at the digit that's in the final resting place right here, and we have to remember what that place value is, and that is not the tenths, it's the hundredths. So then we say hundredths. So when we put it all together, we say 2 and 36 hundredths. But if we didn't have the 6 right here, then we would say 2, because that's the name of that number, and for the decimal point. And then we're going to say this number like it's a regular digit, so that's 3. And we have to look at what place value it's in. It's in the tenths place, so we're going to say 2 and 3/10. Now, there's a lot more to learn when it comes to decimals, but I'm going to go ahead and leave you alone for now so that you can get to work. Best of luck with your new adventures in the world of decimals.